Without doubt, the most important nation-building project in South Africa today is to transform the way men and boys think and behave. Let me explain why. True masculinity is a great gift to society and the world. It protects, it provides, it loves, and it serves. But false and wounded masculinity is the opposite. It breaks down and destroys. South Africa is a nation in distress, socially and economically. And the single biggest cause of this distress is men misusing their strength and behaving in destructive ways. Men who are wounded, unfathered, and have a false and distorted idea of what it means to be a man. You look at pretty much every one of the major challenges we face as a country, and you will see behind it damaged and false masculinity. Take gender-based violence. Tragically, we are known as the rape capital of the world. Our femicide rate is 5 times the global average. Gender-based violence in South Africa is at insanely high levels. Over 95% of this is committed by men. The solution? Teach men how to love, serve, and protect. How to be true men. Take murder. In 2019, over 20,000 people were murdered in South Africa. That's 7 times the number of people who died in the 9/11 terrorist attacks, and worse than most war zones. It is the worst in Africa and the 5th worst in the world. Over 98% of these murders are committed by men. The solution? Heal men's anger and teach them how to deal with their issues in a non-violent way. The problem is men, the solution is men. Failing state-owned enterprises and municipalities. There's no need to elaborate on the number of SOEs which have been wrecked by corruption and incompetence. Why? Why is this happening? The abuse and misuse of power, primarily by men. The solution? Transforming the way men behave so that they use their positions of power to serve the country and serve the community and not to steal from them. Take fatherlessness. Up to 60% of children in South Africa are growing up without a father. Research shows clearly that fatherlessness is the single biggest contributing factor to violent crime, to rape, teenage pregnancy, and substance abuse, and many more issues. The problem? Men are not fathering their children. The solution? Get men to be good fathers. Take corruption. Corruption costs this country billions every year and is a significant contributor to the poverty we're seeing. The cause? Men abusing their positions of power to take instead of give. The solution? Teaching men that true masculinity never abuses power, but rather uses it to serve. None of these issues are because men and masculinity are inherently bad. There are 2 clear reasons men behave in such destructive ways. Not excuses, reasons. And if we address these reasons, we can heal the damage. The first reason is wounded masculinity. Men need to be validated and affirmed by their fathers or significant older men. When they aren't, they grow up with a sense of woundedness and inadequacy and spend their whole lives either trying to prove that they are men by misusing their strength or by failing to use their strength and running away from responsibility. Both of these we're seeing in South Africa today. The second reason is false concepts and beliefs about what it means to be a man. Boys look to older men to model to them what it means to be a man. But sadly, all too often, they end up copying the vices of men instead of their virtues. Men who grow up without having positive masculinity modeled to them grow up with a false and often destructive notion of what it means to be a man. How much of that are we seeing? To them, masculinity is all about power, sex, and money, about dominating and controlling, or failing to take responsibility. At the root of both of these, wounded masculinity on the one hand and false notions of masculinity on the other hand, is simply fatherlessness and a lack of good, strong male role models. A boy who is loved, affirmed, and disciplined by his father, and who has positive masculinity modeled to him, will almost always grow up to be a good man, a man who uses his strength well. A boy who grows up without the love and discipline of a present father, and without engaged older men modeling positive masculinity to him, has a very good chance of turning out either aggressive, harmful to himself and others, or passive, failing to take responsibility and withdrawing into all kinds of addictions. Both passive and aggressive men are very destructive to society, and both of these we are seeing so much of in South Africa. Here's the truth. True masculinity loves, serves, honors, protects, and provides. False wounded masculinity dominates, controls, abuses, is self-serving and destructive. True masculinity is a great gift to the world. False, wounded masculinity is a dreadful curse. At Father a Nation, we restore, equip, train, and mentor men in true positive masculinity. We have resources and programs to transform men and a growing track record of equipping men to be good men men who stand against any and every form of abuse and are a gift to society and the world. The kind of intervention and material provided by Father a Nation is desperately needed in every sector of society, at schools, at universities, in communities, in taverns, colleges, businesses, organizations, government departments, and even Parliament itself. As a nation, we need to restore, equip, and inspire boys and men to be good men, men who use their strength to love, serve, honor, protect, and provide. Our two main resources at Father a Nation: No Excuse for Abuse and the 6-pack of Champion Virtues. This material is available free in digital format, but we need your support to get these resources into every corner of our nation and to train up and mobilize an army of men and mentors to transform this generation of men and raise the next generation of boys to be good men, men who use their strength well. If we get this right, we can and will put an end to fatherlessness, to corruption, to violent crime, to gangsterism, and to gender-based violence in this beautiful nation of ours. Help us transform South Africa by supporting Father a Nation as we restore, equip, and mobilize men to be good men. Thank you for your support.